Udralex, Volume 4, Good Manufacturing Practice Guidelines, Chapter 3, Premises and Equipment. General. Premises should be situated in an environment which, when considered together with measures to protect the manufacturer, present minimal risk of causing contamination of materials or products. Premises should be carefully maintained, ensuring that repair and maintenance operations do not present any hazard to the quality of products. They should be cleaned and, where applicable, disinfected according to detailed written procedures. Lighting, temperature, humidity, and ventilation should be appropriate and such that they do not adversely affect, directly or indirectly, either the medicinal products during their manufacture and storage or the accurate functioning of equipment. Premises should be designed and equipped so as to afford maximum protection against the entry of insects or other animals. Steps should be taken in order to prevent the entry of unauthorized people. Production, storage, and the quality control areas should not be used as a right-of-way by personnel who do not work in them. Production area. Cross-contamination should be prevented for all products by appropriate design and operation of manufacturing facilities. The measures to prevent cross-contamination should be commensurate with the risk. Quality risk management principles should be used to assess and control the risks. Dedicated facilities are required for manufacturing when a medicinal product presents a risk because the risk cannot be adequately controlled by operational and or technical measures. Scientific data from the toxicological evaluation does not support a controllable risk, e.g., allergenic potential from highly sanitizing materials such as beta-lactams. Relevant residual limits derived from the toxicological evaluation cannot be satisfactorily determined by a validated analytical method. Production area. Premises should preferably be laid out in such a way as to allow the production to take place in areas connected in a logical order corresponding to the sequence of the operation and to the requisite cleanliness level. The adequacy of the working and in-process storage space should permit the orderly and logical positioning of equipment and materials so as to minimize the risk of confusion between different medicinal products or their components, to avoid cross-contamination and to minimize the risk of omission or wrong application of any of the manufacturing or control steps. Production area, where starting and primary packaging materials, intermediate or bulk products are exposed to the environment. Interior surfaces, walls, floors, and ceilings should be smooth, free from cracks and open joints, and should not shed particulate matter and should permit easy and effective cleaning and, if necessary, disinfection. Pipework, light fittings, ventilation points, and other services should be designed and seated to avoid the creation of surfaces which are difficult to clean. As far as possible, for a maintenance purpose, they should be accessible from outside the manufacturing areas. The drains should be of adequate size and have trapped gullies. Open channels should be avoided where possible, but if necessary, they should be shallow to facilitate cleaning and disinfection. Production area. Production areas should be effectively ventilated with air control facilities, including temperature and, where necessary, humidity and filtration appropriate both to the products handled, to the operations undertaken with them, and to the external environment. Weighing of starting materials usually should be carried out in a separate weighing room designed for such use. Production area. In cases where dust is generated, e.g. during sampling, weighing, mixing, and processing operations, packaging of dry products, a specific provision should be taken to avoid cross-contamination and facilitate cleaning. Premises for the packaging of medicinal products should be specifically designed and layout so as to avoid mix-up or cross-contamination. Production areas should be well lit, particularly where visual online controls are carried out. In-process controls may be carried out within the production area provided they do not create any risk to production. A storage area. A storage area should be of sufficient capacity to allow orderly storage of the various categories of materials and products. Starting and packaging materials, intermediate, bulk, and finished products. Product in quarantine, released, rejected, returned, or recalled. A storage area should be designed or adapted to ensure good storage conditions. In particular, they should be clean and dry and maintained within acceptable temperature limits. Where a special storage conditions are required, e.g. temperature, humidity, this should be provided, checked, and monitored. Storage area. Receiving and dispatch by should protect materials and products from the weather. Reception area should be designed and equipped to allow a container of incoming materials to be cleaned where necessary before storage. Where quarantine status is ensured by storage in separate areas, this area must be clearly marked and their access restricted to authorized personnel. Any system replacing the physical quarantine should give equivalent security. A storage area. There should normally be a separate sampling area for starting materials If sampling is performed in the storage area, it should be conducted in such a way as to prevent contamination or cross-contamination. Segregated areas should be provided for the storage of rejected, recalled, or returned materials or products. Highly active materials or products should be stored in safe and secure areas. Printed packaging materials are considered critical to the conformity of the medicinal products, and the special attention should be paid to the safe and secure storage of these materials. Quality control areas. Normally, quality control laboratories should be separated from production area. This is particularly important for laboratories for the control of biological, microbiological, and radioisotopes, which should also be separated from each other. Control laboratories should be designed to suit the operation to be carried out in them. Sufficient space should be given to avoid mix-up and cross-contamination. There should be adequate, suitable storage space for samples and records. Quality control areas. Separate rooms may be necessary to protect sensitive instruments from vibration, electrical interference, humidity, etc. Special requirements are needed in laboratories handling particular substances such as biological or radioactive samples. Ancillary areas. Rest and refreshment rooms should be separate from other areas. Facilities for changing clothes and for washing and toilet purpose should be easily accessible and appropriate for the number of users. Toilets should not directly communicate with production or storage areas. Maintenance workshops should, as far as possible, be separated from production areas. Whenever parts and tools are stored in the production area, they should be kept in rooms or lockers reserved for that use. Animal houses should be well isolated from other areas with separate entrance, animal access, and air handling facilities. Equipment. Manufacturing equipment should be designed, located, and maintained to suit its intended purpose. Repair and maintenance operations should not present any hazard to the quality of the products. Manufacturing equipment should be designed so that it can be easily and thoroughly cleaned. It should be cleaned according to detailed and written procedures and stored only in a clean and dry condition. Washing and cleaning equipment should be chosen and used in order not to be a source of contamination. Equipment should be installed in such a way as to prevent any risk of error or of contamination. Production equipment should not present any hazard to products. Parts of production equipment that come into contact with the product must not be reactive, additive, or absorptive to such an extent that it will affect the quality of the product and thus present any hazard. balances, and the measuring equipment of an appropriate range and precision should be available for production and control operations. Measuring, weighing, recording, and control equipment should be calibrated and checked at defined intervals by appropriate methods. Adequate records of such tests should be maintained. Equipment fixed pipework should be clearly labeled to indicate the contents and, where applicable, the direction of flow. Distilled, deionized, and where appropriate, other water pipes should be sanitized according to written procedure that detail the action limits for microbiological contamination and the measures to be taken. Defective equipment should, if possible, be removed from production and quality control areas, or at least be clearly labeled as defective. Thanks for your attention.